Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and these are the hottest Golden Age comics for the week. First on the list is Batman number 37. This is from DC Comics, 1946. It is a Jerry Robinson cover, and it's a cool classic Joker cover with Joker on his face on a jet, on a car, and in the spotlight. And it's kind of like a parody almost of Batman's, Batmobile and Bat plane, and also the spotlight. So sort of Joker playing a parody on Batman. And this is just a classic Joker cover. And this was a eBay sale. It was a 3.5 that sold, and it sold for $1,100, $1,100 for a 3.5. Now, that is an interesting one because this is a new record. The previous record was, and it's not like a massive record here. It was sold for $1,099.99. So this is up a whole penny, one whole penny from the previous record. Now, this is not a good sale for this book, actually. Even the previous sale was not a good sale for this book. There was actually a 3.0 that sold for $1,350 in January of 2023. So this is actually, though it's a record, it's kind of down compared to what the 3.0 had sold for. So a lower grade sold for actually more money. Just an interesting one. There are 244 of these on the census, and 277 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 9 on the list is Dynamic Comics number 15. This is a Harry Kessler comic from 1945. It is a Ruben Moria, I think, cover. And this was just a classic good girl art cover, kind of bit of that crime scene. You got the girl kind of entering her apartment and this guy coming up behind her with a gun. Just a cool, classic not horror, but crime cover. And this was an 8.5 that sold, and it sold for $1,400. Now that's a pretty strong sale because this is a new record, actually. This is the only sale for this grade. However, I say it's a strong sale because if you look at the 4.0 that sold in June of 2022, it sold for $336. I actually picked up a 3.0 for around $60. so this is one of those ones where if you go by the point per point, you would expect it to sell for around $800, and maybe a little bit of a premium because it is that high grade, maybe $1,000. But to sell for $1,400 was a very, very strong sale. There are 17 of these on the census, and 16 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 8 on the list is Jumbo Comics number 69. This is from Fiction House 1944. Is actually a Joe Doolin cover, but that's not what's key about it. It's a Sheena cover, but what's key about this book is it is the very first Matt Baker art in comics. And a lot of Matt Baker artists, art collectors, go after this book for that reason. It is just a major key for Matt Baker collectors. And this was a massive sale. And just for transparency's sake, I actually bid on this one. I was hoping to win, but it went way above what I was expecting it to go. This was a 5.0 that sold, and it sold for $1,680. It had slightly brittle pages, and that's kind of why I backed off. I didn't want to go too extreme on it because I felt like the brittle pages made me a little nervous about it. This book basically doubled its previous sale. It sold back in October of 2022 for $840. So doubled in a year. So just a massive sale for this book. There are whenever I see this book, it always kind of gets really great prices. So whoever picked this one up probably can, resell it, and it'll even get more money. So it just seems to be constantly going up. This one's a bit of a hot book. This was a heritage auction sale. And I wish I'd won it, but I didn't. It went way above my, I was actually winning, and then it just went way past my top bid. There are 26 of these on the census, and 26 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 7 on the list is Captain Arrow Comics number 26. This is from Continental Comics from 1946. It's an L.B. Cole cover, and it's actually the last issue in the series, and it's a classic sci-fi cover. There was a few of these, like Contact Comics and this one, that L.B. Cole basically took what was normally like airplane kind of aviation kind of comics, and he put like a sci-fi spin at the very end of the series, because his love for sci-fi books. So this is a really classic L.B. Cole cover for sci-fi. And it's really, a lot of L.B. Cole collectors chase after this one. Now, this was a 3.0 sale, and it sold for $1,899.99. This was a new record, because the previous sale for this book was back in June of 2022 for $1,380. So it's up $500 from its previous sale in this grade. So very strong sale for this book. There are 56 on the census, and 54 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 6 on the list is USA Comics number 16. This is from Timely 1945. It is a great Captain America cover. Like, whenever I think of Captain America, I always think of him with Bucky, one of those things, but also with his motorcycle. And this is him jumping off the motorcycle. The motorcycle is just flying through the air, and he's landing on a boat full of mobsters and just knocking them out. He's like, one hand's taking out one mobster with a shield. Others, like, he's just like taking out multiple people. It's just really cool cover. And it is Alex Schomburg cover. So lots of great things going for this book. This was a 6.0 that sold, and it sold for $2,175. The previous record for this book, so this is a new record. This was set back in April of 2020 for $1,800. So this is up $300 from the previous record. So about 10%, 10-15% from the previous record for this book. Just a very strong sale. There's a bunch of things that collectors go after in this kind of title. The fact that it's early Timely, that's wartime Timelies, kind of go for a bit more. Also that it's Alex Schomburg cover. His books, his covers have been really hot lately. So just a great classic cover for Alex Schomburg. This was, there are 37 of these on the census, and 32 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 5 on the list. And the next few books, actually, I have like sort of a sub-theme that I want to kind of show in this thing, where I'm looking at low-grade books. For the next 5 are going to be mostly low-grade. There's one that's not, but for the most part, it's low-grade books. And I just want to kind of look at how they are performing. So the first one that we're going to look at, number 5, is Batman number 3. This is from DC Comics 1940. It is the first full appearance of Catwoman as Catwoman, where she's actually named Catwoman, and the story is called Catwoman, and she's wearing, you actually see her as Catwoman wearing the mask. It's also the first appearance of the Puppet Master. So just a very major key. This is from DC Comics 1940, just a major book for Batman collectors. This was a 0.5 that copy that sold, and it sold for $2,200. Now this one, it's a 0.5 because it is missing a lot of pages. It's missing 5 center wraps. So that's like 20 pages. It's just like missing huge amount of pages. So 5 center wraps are missing, and a piece was out of one of the other pages. So just a lot wrong with this book in terms of the interior content. However, this book has sold in the past, the same copy. It actually sold back in August of 2022 for $2,300. So it's actually down from its own previous sale of $2,300 just a year ago. There's actually, though, another copy, another 0.5 that sold the month after this one had sold in September of 2022 for $1,856. So it's down from itself, but it's up from that previous sale. So it's kind of like one of those books that's been fluctuating a bit. The interesting thing, just so you know, I actually have a copy of this book. Mine's a 3.0 restored copy. It's complete. It's got some color touch, and I paid less for my copy. I paid about $2,000 for my copy. So you could get a restored copy in much higher grade, presents way better for cheaper than this 0.5 that's missing a lot of pages. I don't get it. Sometimes I really don't get why the restored copies, if I removed all the restoration, and it was a 0.5 even, it would show better. It still wouldn't be a 0.5, it'd be a 1.0, and it sells for less. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Sometimes I don't get how books get priced. But there are 289 of these on the census, and 202 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 4 on the list is Superman number 2. This is from DC Comics 1939. It is a Joe Shuster and a Paul Cassidy cover. And this book it's not a key for any particular reason, but it does have an ad for New York's World's Fair from 1939, which ends up being the first appearance of the Sandman. So nothing key about this book, but it is early Superman. It's the second issue in his self-titled book. So that makes it semi-key, but nothing too key about this book. But it is for super early people that collect Superman and want those early books. This is kind of a major one to go after. This was a 0.5 green label, so doubly bad, that sold. And it sold for $2,625. Now, the reason it was a green label and a 0.5 is the fact that it has a married cover. And the reason it was a 0.5 is it's missing its centerfold. So it's a low grade, missing centerfold, and green label where it's missing it's got a Frankenstein cover, basically. So interesting book. The interesting thing about this one is it actually had, you can actually track this one, and I found its previous sale, and the same book sold back in March of 2020 for $1,500. So it's up $1,100 from its own previous sale. Just to give you a sense of how crazy of a sale this was, this book doesn't sell that often. Even as a blue label, doesn't sell that often. The last blue label 0.5 that sold was back in November of 2017, and it sold for $851. So this green label sold for 4 times more than a blue label did 5 years ago or 6 years ago. So just a very strong sale for this book. And it's not that scarce. There are 234 of these on the census, and 151 of them are Universal Blue Labels. So it's just one where collectors want to get it, and these entry-level books can be kind of pricey for that reason. They just want to get in at any price. Number 3 on the list is Batman number 2. This is from December, DC Comics, 1940, I should say. It's a Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson cover. It is the second appearance of the Joker and the Cat, and also has an ad for New York World's Fair number 1940, which is the first cover with Batman, Robin, and Superman on it. This was another interesting low grade sale. This was a 1.0 that was restored that sold for $4,550. The reason it's considered restored is it's trimmed, and the cover and first wrap are married, probably from another book. Yeah, so it was a massive sale, because if you look at the blue labels for this book, there was a 1.0 blue label that sold for $3,570 in 2021. So this is over $1,000 more than the blue label that had sold. There was actually a 1.0 restored book that sold back in May of 2018, and this was the record back, for the restored grade, that sold for $2,550. So it's up $2,000 from prior sales for restored 1.0s, and it's up $1,000 from even the blue labels. So just a very strong sale for this book. These early Batmans are highly desirable for collectors, and the prices are kind of reflecting that. So there are 244 of these on the census, and 147 of them are universal blue labels. Number 2 on the list. Now, this is not a low grade one that I'm going to be doing for this one, but this is Weird Mysteries number 12. It's from Gilmore Publications from 1954, and it features a Bernard Bailey cover. It's a great cover. It's a man holding his corpse wife body that he just dug up. And so it's a great pre-code horror cover. It's like it's the last issue of the series of Weird Mysteries. Just a really cool and very well done cover by Bernard Bailey, which is an artist that a lot of Golden Age horror collectors chase after, because he's got some really great pre-code horror covers. This was a 5.0 that sold, and it sold for $5,300. Now, this is the only sale for this grade, so it's hard to say, oh, is this a massive sale? Well, the only way we can really determine how strong the sale was by looking at the 4.5 that sold in August of 2023, so just a few months ago, and it sold for $3,120. So it's up like $2,000 compared to the half point grade point lower. So that would, if you do the math, you would have expected this to sell for maybe about $3,500, but it's up. It's over $2,000 more than that. So this was a very strong sale for this book. There are 43 of these on the census, and 39 of them are universal blue labels. Now, back to the theme of low grade. The next one is Wonder Woman number 1. This is number 1 on the list. This is a book I really love, and this was an interesting sale because this is from DC Comics, 1942. It is the first self-titled Wonder Woman book. It is also the first appearance of Ares, and it retells the origin of Wonder Woman. And it has that classic H.G. Peters cover. Just a great book for many, many reasons. Wonder Woman 1, great book. Now, this was a 3.5 that sold. That was a green label. And it was an eBay auction, and it had a lot of bids, and it got up to $6,700. Now, the reason why it is a green label is it presents reasonably well. It presents as a 3.5. And when you're above a 3.5, when you're above that 3 grade, if there's things that are missing, it'll generally get a green label rather than a 0.5 grade. If it's below a 3, it'll just get the 0.5 grade when things are missing, like if it's a page missing. Now, this one is missing a lot. It's missing the first 3 pages, which does affect the story because that is actually the key pages for this book. Because it's the beginning of the story, the origin story for Wonder Woman. So those first 3 pages are missing. Now, this is an interesting sale because if you look at the blue label 3.5s, they sell for $28,800. So like way more, like 4 times more for that blue label, 3.5. Usually, typically, if it's a green label, it sells for about half. So this is half of a half of what the blue labels sell for. Now, there was a previous record for a green label Wonder Woman #1 in a 3.5 for $8,999 set back in June of 2021. So this is well down from its 2021 heights. Now, was this book one of the ones that might have been affected by the COVID bump? Probably yes. There was the Wonder Woman movie that was released during that time. There was a lot of hype around Wonder Woman, and people were chasing after these Golden Age first appearance, not just first appearances, but early Wonder Woman books. And the prices had kind of spiked during that time. Not a huge amount, but enough that we're seeing them kind of returning down to a more normal number. So it's a little bit disappointing for me because I love this book. I have this book. To see it drop so much. It's down like 30% from its previous records. Kind of a sad thing to see, but that is what happens. There are 199 of these on the census, and 129 of them are universal blue labels. So that is the top 10 list. What do you think of these low-grade copies, these green labels and low-grade restored books and 0.5 grade books? I'd be curious what people think about those. Would you buy a low-grade copy, or would you buy a higher grade restored book for the same price? I always wonder about that. I'd love to hear the comments. Thanks for watching. And if you like these kind of videos, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It helps the channel grow. Thank you.